Good evening. We will begin today's ceremony with the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem. Presenting the colors are Staff Sergeant Martin P. Brill, U.S. Army, Staff Sergeant Michael D. Allen, U.S. Marines, David Webster, AK-2, U.S. Army, and Tech Sergeant Cindy Beam, U.S. Air Force. Will you please stand for the presentation of colors, Pledge of Allegiance, and the National Anthem? Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you please be seated? As principal of Maple Grove Senior High School, I would like to welcome each of you to Maple Grove Senior High School's 2000 graduation ceremony. Many arrangements have been made for today's ceremony, including having professional photographers take pictures of each graduate and having Northwest Cable TV tape the entire ceremony. Because we have made these arrangements with the above-mentioned companies, we ask that you please do not come onto the floor to take pictures. It is with great sadness that the faculty and senior class requests that we take a moment to remember and honor Annie Lind. Annie was a member of the class of 2000 until the middle of last year. She died as a result of a car accident this fall. As a way to remember Annie, a rose has been placed on a chair in Mrs. Larson's foundation class. May we each observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Today's ceremony is a celebration in honor of the 527 seniors sitting before us. Through their and their parents' and guardians' perseverance and hard work, they have reached their goal, graduation. The class of 2000 has displayed a great deal of leadership and talent, both in academics and in co-curricular areas. We would like to give recognition to those students who have excelled in the academic area. All the students wearing the gold tassels on the caps are graduating with a grade point average of 3.0 or above. Students wearing a gold cord on their shoulders are members of the National Honor Society. We would like to give special recognition to those students who are graduating with an overall grade point average of 3.8 or higher for their entire school year, all 3 years. Will the high honor students please come forward? School board members, Mr. Russ Funk and Ms. Nancy Miller, will place the gold stoles on each high honor student. Move down. The young men and women that you see standing in front of you will be wearing a gold stole to indicate that they have attained grade point average of 3.8 or above during their entire high school career. 3 of the students have attained a perfect cumulative grade point average of 4.0. They are, and will you please move forward when your name is called, Paul Geigler, Melissa Johnson, and Kyle Nelson. Congratulations. As we announce the names of our 3.8 and above students, we ask that you hold your applause until all of their names have been called. Mr. Funk and Mr. Miller, are you ready? Okay. Maple Grove Senior High's 2000 high honor students are Amy Anderson, Crystal Berg, high honor students, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to step forward a bit so that the school board members can get behind you to put the stoles on. Thank you. Cassandra Bees, Megan Brandt, Lori Dimitrov, Justin Fischbach, Megan Fox. Lev Freeman. Jennifer Gothrop. Paul Geigler. Whoops. Paul was the one that just had the stove put on. Now we're with Matthew Holly. Kimberly Hinkie. Brandon Hess. Lindsay Hill. Gregory Hoker. Ryan Hohag. Katharina Holas. Eric Hughes. Vu Wen. Mindy Hines. Jennifer Ibis. Melissa Johnson. Carrie Kavanagh. Jeffrey Keecher. Jennifer Koenig. Jacob Colden. James Kong. Brent Lawson. Kelsey Lester. Kyle Nelson. Emily Newman. Lindsay Olson. Stephanie Papard. Perry Ananan. Perry Akaruban. Megan Phillips. Jennifer Schneewise. Kimberly Schutte. Christine Sievertson. David Southhorn. Kelly Tangy. Arian Tavikolian. Claire Taylor. Stephanie Weems. Melissa Welcome. Brandon Williams. Lauren Wood. May we have a round of applause for these students. Thank you. You may be seated now. We have many excellent programs at Maple Grove Senior High, and one of those is the music program. The senior music students have chosen the selections that you will hear today. The directors for today are Mrs. Jody Berglund-Holen for the Crimson Chorale, Mr. Stephen Raymer for the Maple Grove Senior High Orchestra, and Mr. Eric Bitterman for the Crimson Wind Ensemble. Under the direction of Mr. Eric Bitterman, the Crimson Wind Ensemble will play Psalm 46 by John Ziedelek. I would like to introduce you to our first student speaker, Jamie Yukas. Our two student speakers were selected by the Senior Graduation Speech Committee. It was a two-phase, very competitive process. Jamie?
Before I begin speaking today, I would just like to say what a great privilege and honor it is for me to be able to do this. So with that, remember that life is a series of chances, a game of numbers. Be prepared when your number is up. Make sure you've stopped to smell the roses, made peace with enemies, and made the most of your time. When things are looked at as numbers, they don't seem real. But numbers are solid and scary, and so very, very real. This speech is only 3 minutes long. 6 is the average number of times we'll all change careers. You only get 24 hours in one day, so choose what you do with those hours carefully. 78 is the average age we will die. But don't take 1 minute for granted, because that's only an average. 50% of all marriages will fail, but don't worry, the other 50% will succeed. You'll get the chance to see 365 sunrises in 1 year. So get up. Countless is the number of times Laura Nelson has taken the time to inform us about gay rights. So stop, listen, and learn, and then help her cause by teaching tolerance to your children. 2 is the number of basic standards tests we had to pass to get to this stage. What a pain and waste of precious teaching time. On average, you'll be allowed 7 sick days in 1 year. That means you'll spend the other 358 days working. 982,765 is the number of times irregardless was used in a sentence by the senior class. Sorry guys, but it's not even a word. There are about 660 students that start in our class. Only 540 are graduating here today. 1 is the number of times you get to make a first impression. 7 is the number of times I was dumped by boyfriends and best friends during high school. Although it was hard at the time, it gave me the opportunity to learn, learn about independence and find out who I really wanted to be. In the immortal words of Rodney Dangerfield, look out for number 1, but don't step in number 2. There are 330 calories in a single serving of Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies. Don't think twice and enjoy each and every little calorie. Our boys basketball, adapted floor hockey, and girls gymnastics teams all placed second in the state championships. Our very own Tara Schrader placed first in state with her gymnastics score of 38.925. There's one person who should be among her graduating class but isn't. Annie Line, Maple Grove could never forget you. Tens of thousands of memories were generated during high school, but every time your parents asked what you did, you replied, nothing important. Did you know that when you're 18, you have the right to vote? So step up and speak out. $7.65 is the average pay per hour to a high school graduate. 20% of us are taking jobs directly from high school. The other 80% of us have been given the opportunity to attend college or tech school. It took me 5 drafts to get the speech the way I wanted it, and when I was all through, I added up these numbers, I multiplied, divided, subtracted, and then squared. I found 2,000 to be the answer. The answer reads that we are the future. We have survived the past 12 years, and we're ready for what's ahead. Congratulations, and know that to me, none of you are just a number. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Miss Jody Berglund-Holen will be directing our next musical piece, played by Maple Grove Senior High Orchestra and the Crimson Chorale, entitled Power of the Dream.
woman, child, and man. It's the moment that you think you can't, you'll discover that you can. The flame forever burn, teaching lessons we must learn to bring us closer to the power of the dream. The world unites in hope and peace. Pray that it will always be. It is the power of the dream that brings us here. Feel the flame forever burn, teaching lessons we must learn to bring us closer to the power of the dream. The world unites in hope and peace. Pray that it will always be. It is the power of the dream that brings us here. Feel the flame forever burn, teaching lessons we must learn to bring us closer to the power of the dream. The world unites in hope and peace. Pray that it will always be. It is the power of the dream that brings us here.
Realize the power of the dream. To realize the power of the dream.
Our second student speaker that was selected to speak to us is Brandon Hess. Brandon, will you please come up?
All right. Before we get started here, I'd just like to apologize if things are lagging behind here a bit. I was a few seconds late today, and they tried to give me detention on the way in. I guess it's not over till the caps and tassels are in the air. Seriously, though, this is a very big day for some of us, memorable for all of us. So I'd like to start off by recognizing members of the school board. I'd also like to recognize the teachers and administration of Maple Grove Senior High. I'd also like to thank the families. You were with us from the beginning, and we owe a great deal to you. And finally, the students, and graduates. This is our day. It's, uh, it's the end of the beginning. What we call a beginning is often the end. And to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. T.S. Eliot. So here we stand at the edge of our high school lives. The years and the tears, the challenges and achievements, none would be so sweet were they not the mark of a great new beginning. I stand before you today for the last time as a student of Maple Grove Senior High. And after all we've been through, I'm ready. We are ready to take our place in the world. The years have taught us more than any textbook. About 6 years ago, we took our first step through the doors of junior high. I more or less strutted through under my North Carolina starter jacket and the words to Warren G's Regulate written on my life skills folder. We were all trying to be someone, find some place to fit in. What category do I fall under? Time goes by, and the social lines begin to dissolve. Coming to the senior high as sophomores, we start exploring new friendships. With changing boundaries of Osseo and Maple Grove schools, we have the opportunity to build new relationships. And if anything, the link between our two schools grows stronger. We've been through a lot and we've seen it all. 10th grade, the nation mourns the tragic shootings at Westside Middle School in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This horrible incident starts an appalling trend in our nation's schools. With our shock and concern, we were there. Junior year, nearly every district in the state cancels school after Minnesota gets dumped on with over a foot of snow. District 279, school's in session. With our mittens, boots, and backpacks, we were there. 12th grade, senior year. The Maple Grove boys basketball team battles through the season all the way to the state championship at Williams Arena. It all happened over spring break. Some of us were there. As we progress through high school and begin planning for our post-secondary lives, true significance is given to our education. We begin to realize what is and what is not relevant to the rest of our lives. What we've been pushing towards for 12 long years comes into focus, and we're ready to take our first step out into the world we inherit, a world that must be carefully shaped and expanded. Our community, our nation, and our planet become one. We will be there. A Maple Grove Senior High education has shaped us. We have shaped a Maple Grove Senior High education, but most of all, we have shaped each other. So as we prepare to take that first brave step into the world, I urge everyone never to forget the people, places, and events that have shaped our future. Let's take the first brave step together in celebration of the 2000 Maple Grove Senior High class of 2000. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Mr. Stephen Raymer will lead the Maple Grove Senior High Orchestra in Symphony No. 8, Unfinished by Franz Schubert. Before the presentation of the class of 2000, I would like to take the time to introduce those people who have been leaders at the district and building level. Because of their leadership, today became a reality for these seniors. I'd ask that you hold your applause until they have all stood and been introduced. The District 279 leaders who are participating in today's ceremony are school board members Russell L. Funk, Nancy A. Miller. Superintendent of Schools, Dr. L. Chris Richardson. Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education, Dr. James Body. The building level leaders are Assistant Principals Eric Williams, Jerry Rasmussen, Administrative Assistants who are helping out in the area, James Donovan, Ron Zuffy, Senior Class Advisor, Maura Nelson. The parents and students administration, thank you for your excellent leadership. A very special thank you to our interpreters, Carol McWade and Richard Larian. A big thank you to Maple Grove Senior High's business manager, Roger Zeman, our support staff, Kelly Rausch, Terry Fote, Michelle Giesler, and Connor Herman. Without their help, today's ceremony would not have been possible. Thank you. In cooperation with our professional leaders, our student leaders have been outstanding. The following seniors have been members of our student government, the Crimson Council. Serbi Madia, President. Paul Geigler, Vice President. Stay standing, Serbi, please. Greg Holker, Treasurer. Will all the remaining senior Crimson Council members please stand? Thanks for your excellent leadership, and you're never going to have to worry about parking permits again. They were so helpful in working through all of it, our Crimson Cabinet was. I would also like to introduce you to another student organization that has contributed immensely to the leadership at Maple Grove Senior High, the National Honor Society. The senior officers are Paul Geigler, President, Corey Vandenberg, Vice President, Stephanie Papard, Secretary, Jamie Yukas, Treasurer, Megan Fox, Historian. Will all members of the National Honor Society please stand? Thank you for your outstanding leadership. In order to verify that a student has met the requirements for graduation, it is necessary to have one person plan and guide a student's progress through school. At Maple Grove Senior High School, each senior has received that guidance from the Foundations teacher. The class of 2000 Foundations teachers escorted their students into the ceremony today. The faculty is wearing the official faculty black robes and hoods. The colors on their hoods indicate their college major, and the colors on the colors also of the college they graduated from. The design of the robes and hoods indicate the degree earned. We will now present the class of 2000 for awarding of the diplomas. We ask that our guests refrain from catcalls, whistles, and other distracting noises as the graduates' names are called. We ask that because it is important that each graduate's name is clearly heard and that they receive the respect they have each earned. Helping us award the diplomas will be our new NHS Vice President for next year, Paul Clark, and the Secretary, Alyssa Brooks. Students' names will be called alphabetically according to their foundation teacher's last name. There are 2 corrections to the program. Joseph Paul Oshbach's name was omitted under Jennifer Larson's foundation's class, and Amy Jo Klein is listed under Paul Wardell's Foundations class and should be with Michael Coffey's class. We apologize for these errors. Mr. Funk, Mrs. Miller, Dr. Richardson, and Dr. Body. The senior foundations teachers and administration are honored to announce that the following students have met all the requirements of Maple Grove Senior High School, District 279, and the Minnesota Department of Children, Families, and Learning. At this time, I would like to present the class of 2000 for the presentation of certificates of graduation.
The Foundations class of Marlene Barton.
From the
Lindsay
Foundations
LaVon
class of
Anderson.
Celine Peterson.
Lindsay LaVon Anderson.
Sarah Yvonne Berg.
Daniel Andrew Batten.
Matthew Richard Bindert.
Adam Richard Carlson.
Laura Jean Cole.
Robin Carol Carney.
Justin Andrew Dale.
Jacqueline K. Didier.
Christine Marie Erdman.
Christopher James Elfering.
Nathan John Freed.
Elizabeth Ann Gillespie.
Kimberly Ray Halsey.
Brian Patrick Harris.
Brandon Richard Hess.
Laura Rose Hillstrom.
Lindsay Margaret Jacobs.
Kevin Neho.
Richard Christopher Coletta.
Aaron Kristen Kelly.
Julie Lynn Koziak.
Joseph Andrew Cooker.
Jeffrey Allen Adam Lemmerman.
Sandra K. Livers.
Tricia Jean Martell.
Jeffrey John McGee.
Craig Donald Morecombe.
Cheryl Lynn Odens.
Kathy Husmukh Patel.
Dustin Vernon Pedersen.
Genevieve Morris Schneeweiss.
Melinda Grace Quast.
Patrick James Severud.
Jennifer Rose Schwab.
Christopher Richard Spangers.
Kelly Ann Tangy.
Andrea Michelle Steele.
Mark Dennis Wallace.
Emily Mae Swenson.
Connie Kathleen Yeomans.
Jesse Allen Thomas.
From the foundation class of Eric Bitterman, Katrina Raquel Anderson.
Jennifer Lee Van Hefty.
Molly Marie Anderson.
Thomas Howard Vilkema.
Philip Robert Armstrong.
Eric Philip Youngner.
Michael John Bear.
From the Foundations class of Chelsea Peterson, Austin Emerson Aarons.
Benjamin David Carpenter.
Katie Lynn Bjorn.
Joanna Marie Diem.
Justin Keith Davis.
Dustin James Fensler.
Eric Lewis Frickman.
Kristen Page Gladio.
Rafael Enrique Fuentes.
Eric Stephen Harrison.
Elizabeth Kimmy Hara.
Sarah Marie Hoffman.
Gregory Scott Hoker.
Michael Daniel Johnson,
Amanda Lee Jagum,
Lindsay Ray King,
Sarah Jean King,
Christopher Stephen Cruz,
Thomas Wayne Kolb,
Sarah Ann Luby,
Janelle Marie Kuschel,
Perry Ann and Karupin,
Bradley Charles Lindberg,
Aaron Lorraine Pickering,
Heather Lee Marmarine,
Christopher Lane Rutledge,
Sally Ann Milkey,
Stephen Michael Sachs,
Catherine Alyssa Pronzinski,
Sarah Gwendolyn Syme,
Bradley Thomas Rebhorn,
Derek Allen Strandy,
Elizabeth Ann Russell,
Brandon Shepard Walters,
James Stephen Showalter,
Jamie Ann Yukas,
Jody Ann Specht,
from the Foundations class of Ann Boleyn, Jonathan James Belting,
Allison Lee Voss,
Kirsten Therese Caskey,
Justin Everett Wise,
Nicholas Anthony Shehawk,
from the Foundations class of Jeffrey Peterson, Namdi Augustine Anwa,
Kristen Nicole Dilbert,
Christine Lee Bricko,
Stephen Michael Fensky,
Mary Davin Cuthbertson,
Julie Marie Glasscock,
Kyle Joseph Desmarais,
James Gertz,
Sarah Deanne Fleener,
Robert Thomas Hart,
Paul Michael Geigler,
Janelle Sandra Lynn Holtz,
Kelly Joseph Howe,
Thomas Robert Johnson,
Vu Tui Win,
Nicholas Carl Krutzig,
Heather Marette Johnson,
Jenny Marie Lucas,
Adam Robert Kratzky,
Ross John Meyer,
Heather Lynn Leedens,
Heidi Kathleen Olson,
Henry David Long,
Jamie Lee Rambow,
Caleb George Marks,
Volley Charles Sanders III,
Laura Ann Nelson,
Ryan James Sathry,
Eric Vincent Novak,
Tara Renee Schrader,
Lindsay Kristen Pfluger,
Jamie Elisha Kim Severson,
Todd Michael Reverman,
Neil Robert Stragey,
Jessica Lynn Saunders,
Claire Therese Taylor,
Heather Corinne Stewart,
from the Foundation class of Michael Buck, Justin Andrew Du Ravage,
Cameron Sean Thomas,
Daniel Robert Geisinger,
Kathleen Danae Wells,
Jeffrey Thomas Keecher,
Brandon Riley Williams,
from the Foundations class of Michael Coffey, Matthew Joseph Allen,
from the Foundations class of Patricia Precker, Sarah Jean Crosby,
Rhonda Rifat Arafat,
Stanley Lee Davis II,
Thomas William Bernardson Jr.,
Eric Allen Dean,
Tiffany Lynn Childs,
Tamara Ann Fagerland,
Jacob Carlton Cook,
Matthew Scott Futrell,
Eric Eugene Flatigal,
Heidi Kathleen Mary Hargarten,
Lev Felisovich Freeman,
Ryan Benjamin Hohag,
Jason Philip Grine,
Jennifer Lynn Jansen,
Renee Margaret Gaimo,
Jacob Carl Colden,
Kristen Marie Helseth,
Jennifer Diane Lamphere,
Rebecca Lynn Huber,
Robert Carl Lindholm,
Ryan Edward Jorgensen,
Christina Marie Miller,
Amy Jo Klein,
Justin Theodore Nelson,
Todd Anthony Latia,
Melissa Marie Ryan,
Jason David Miller,
Ted Daniel Sibley,
Kristen Joy Olson,
Lindsay Jean Spitzka,
Brent William Peterson,
Kelly Ann Wall,
Mary Jolene Piper,
Christopher David Wick,
Brandon Michael Scheller,
Karen Marie Warner.
Alicia Bolin Shopek,
From the Foundations class of James Reck, William Lyle Anderson,
Christine Marie Thompson,
Andrea Ray Brandt.
from the Foundations class of Donna Garzinski, Sarah Anna Anderson,
Ashley First Curran,
Jonathan Jeffrey Benson,
Joseph Anthony DeLisi Jr.,
Sarita Renee Burks,
Kevin Michael Dunn,
Angela Kristen D,
Nicole Marie Ferber,
Lori Michelle Dimitrov,
Derek Ryan Gans,
Justin Cole Fishbach,
Adam Wayne Hamilton,
Lara Ann Goldsmith,
Anna Marie Harrer,
Matthew Peter Holly,
Kurt Christopher Holker,
Jennifer Marie Hansen,
Holly Joe Jedlicki,
Logan Matthew Haskins,
Hannah Jean Larson,
Jennifer Nicole Hopp,
Heather Lynn Molzoff,
Elizabeth Marie Kipp,
Kyle Sean Nelson,
Matthew Philip Lechner,
Jeanette Louise Peterson,
Stephanie Anita Lund,
Paul Tyler Ranking,
Lindsay Jewel Olson,
Casey Elizabeth Ryder,
Daniel James Perozzi,
Sean Ryan Silbaugh,
Kimberly Joy Redding,
Jessica Joy Stanchfield,
Ryan William Shaden,
Jacob Irwin Traffus,
Bridget Faye Shannon,
Stephanie Kathleen Weems,
Amanda Nicole Sharp,
Kenneth Lee Wick,
Michael Paul Strom,
Darren Charles Zur,
Carrie Lynn Zemiskull,
from the Foundations class of Stephen Raymer, Courtney Renee Belfile,
from the Foundation class of Wayne Hamilton, Taryn Lorray Anderson,
Nathaniel David Bertram,
Christopher Ryan Berg,
Justin William Cassette,
Brandon James Clark,
Nicole Cecile Egan,
Candace Marie Dombeck,
Andrew John Fornacier,
Leslie Ann Gravatt,
Ashley Nicole Hagan,
Emily Marissa Hill,
Michael Richard Heineman,
Christy Lee Hornbacher,
Brittany Janelle Hunt,
Matthew Richard Jurgensen.
Benjamin Michael Judkins.
Joel Robert Jordan.
Renee Lynn Knight.
Molly Maureen Kipley.
Brent Jared Lawson.
Jason Michael Lagenbacher.
Serbi Ashwin Madia.
Sarah Marie Liebrance.
Joshua David Moberg.
Lisa Ray Lucian.
Camille Elizabeth Panzer.
Catherine Gregor Nelson.
Jason Lyle Peterson.
Andrea Marie Olson.
Erica Ann Rieshold.
Christian Joseph Peterson.
Anita Singh.
Todd James Robbins.
Charles William Svensson.
Julia Lynn Sharp.
Erica Ruth Swanson.
Roland Carlisle Salzer.
Eric William Tappy.
Peter James Swenson.
Mikhail Turley.
Elisa Marie Thompson.
Joshua James Wolf.
From the Foundations class of Sherry Hamry. Lindsay Marie Anderson.
From the Foundations class of Patricia Sheehan. Erica Joy Albeck.
David John Bartlett.
Jeffrey William Angel.
Aaron Robert Carity.
Jeffrey Daniel Bush.
Heather Jean Carlson.
Megan Lee Brandt.
Megan Marie Dickinson.
Sarah Marie Curtis.
Robert James Easthouse.
Kyle Anthony DeRue.
Tiffany Ann Hill.
Anton Edward Garton.
Caleb David Johnson.
Jason Lee Honick.